Hi Henry, hi Cora, hi Bonnie. This book is from Horton Hears a Quagger Bug and More Lost Stories. So it's not the book, it's another story. We read, I think I read you the first one that was about Horton and the Quagger Bug. So that's already on these stories on YouTube. But I only got that far in the book. So today I'm going to read Marco Comes Late. Young man, by Dr. Seuss. Young man, said Miss Block, it's 11 o'clock. The school begins promptly at 8:45. Why, this is a terrible time to arrive. What's wrong with you, boy? Is your head made of wood? Why didn't you come just as fast as you could? What is your excuse? It had better be good. Marco looked at the clock and he looked at Miss Block. Excuse, Marco stuttered. Well, you see, well, it's like this. Something happened to me. This morning, Miss Block, when I left home for school, I hurried off early according to rule. I said when I started at 8:15 that I must not, I will not, I shall not be late. I'll be the first pupil to be in my seat. And then bang, something happened on Mulberry Street. I heard a strange peep and I took a quick look. And you know what I saw with the look that I took? A bird laid an egg on my arithmetic book. I couldn't believe it, Miss Block, but it's true. I stopped and I didn't quite know what to do. I didn't dare run and I didn't dare walk. I didn't dare yell and I didn't dare talk. I didn't dare sneeze and I didn't dare cough, because if I did, it would knock the egg off. So I stood there stock still and it worried me pink. Then my feet got quite tired and I sat down to think. And while I was thinking down there on the ground, I saw something move and I heard a loud sound of a worm who was having a fight with his wife. The worm, he was yelling, that boy should not wait. He must not, he dare not, he shall not be late. That boy ought to smash that egg off his head. Then the wife of the worm shouted back and she said, to break that dear egg would be terribly cruel. An egg's more important than going to school. That egg is that mother bird's pride and her joy. If he smashes that egg, he's the world's meanest boy. And while the worms argued about what I should do, a couple of big cats started arguing too. You listen to me, I heard one of them say. If this boy doesn't go on to school right away, Miss Block will be frightfully, horribly mad. If the boy gets there late, she will punish the lad. Then the other cat snapped, I don't care if she does. This boy must not move. So I stayed where I was, with the egg on my head and my heart full of fears and the shouting of cats and worms in my ears. Then, while I lay wondering when all this would stop, the egg on my book burst apart with a pop. And out of the pieces of red and white shell jumped a strange brand new bird, and he said with a yell, I thank you, young fellow, you've been simply great, but now that I'm hatched, you need no longer wait. I'm sorry I kept you till 11 o'clock. It's really my fault. You tell that to Miss Block. I wish you good luck and I bid you good day. That's what the bird said, and he fluttered away. And then I got here just as fast as I could. And that's my excuse, and I think it's quite good. Miss Block didn't speak for a moment or two. Her eyes looked at Marco, and she looked him clean through. Then she smiled. That's a very good tale, if it's true. Did all of those things really happen to you? Well, answered Marco with sort of a squirm. Not quite all, but at least I did see a worm. I think Marco likes to tell stories. So that's the end of that story, but happy day. It's followed by another one called How Officer Pat Saved the Whole Town. So I think this is Officer Pat, a police officer. The job of an officer of the police is watching for trouble and keeping the peace. He has to be sharp and he has to be smart and try to stop trouble before it can start. And that's why one morning while out on his beat on the corner of Chestnut and Mulberry Street, he got sort of worried, did Officer Pat, when his very keen eyes spied a very small gnat going buzz round the head of old Thomas the cat. "Aha," murmured Pat, "I see trouble in that." If that gnat bites the cat, and he might very well, that cat will wake up and he'll let out a yell. That's only small trouble, I know, but brother, one small bit of trouble leads to another. The trouble with trouble is trouble will spread. The yowl of that cat will wake Tom, Tim, and Ted, those terrible triplets of Mrs. McGowan. Then they'll yowl a yowl that will wake the whole town. When trouble gets started, it always starts more. Those kids with their racket and ruckus and roar will frighten the birds, and all the birds will come flapping down Mulberry Street with a yipping and yapping. Once trouble gets going, it spreads just like fire. Those birds will come screaming toward Mr. McGuire, the fish market man, and he'll get such a scare that he'll toss that big codfish high up in the air. That's the trouble with trouble. It grows and it grows. The fish in the air will land smack on the nose of that horse over there that belongs to Bill Hart. The horse will start kicking Hart's wagon apart, and pumpkins will bounce on the head of Jake Warner, who's fixing that hydrant down on the corner. And once all those pumpkins start falling on Jake, he'll fall on his wrench and the hydrant will break. There's no stopping trouble once trouble gets going. When hydrants get broken, the water starts flowing. That water will gush right on Miss Minella. She'll think that it's rain and she'll put up her umbrella. Ruh-roh. And that'll knock young Bobby Burke off his bike. He'll fall on the ladder of House Painter Mike. And House Painter Mike, when he tumbles, will spill a bucket of paint on the head of Don Dill. And once it gets started, there's no stopping trouble. That splashing of paint will upset Mrs. Hubble, and she'll drop her dishes. They'll smash on the ground and startle her dog. The poor frightened hound will jump in the horn of old Horn Tooter Fritz. I guess that's Horn Tooter Fritz. He has the same name as Uncle Fritz. And Fritz will fall backward and scare driver Schmitz on his dynamite truck, almost out of his wits. And that dynamite truck with its big load of blitz will race toward the tree, and oh boy, when it hits, the whole of this town will be blown to small bits. But lucky for us, down on Mulberry Street, good Officer Pat was awake on his beat, and quick the brave officer swung his big bat on the troublesome head of that troublesome gnat, and he kept him from biting old Thomas the cat, and stopped all the trouble before it began. He saved the whole town. What a very smart man. Oops. And that is the end of that story. Oh my goodness. But there's one more very, 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 very short one. It's only on these 2 pages. So I'm going to show you the story, and I'll start reading because it's hard to read at an angle, and I'll show it again. So are you ready? This is the story of the Hubbub and the Grinch. The Hubbub was lying outdoors in the sun, the wonderful, wonderful warm summer sun. There's nothing, he said, quite as good as the sun. And then up walked the Grinch with a piece of green string. How much, asked the Grinch, will you pay for this thing? So I guess this is the Grinch. And this is the Hubbub. And this is the string. You sure ought to have it. You'll find it great fun, and it's worth a lot more than old-fashioned sun. Huh? Asked the Hubbub. Sounds silly to me. Worth more than the sun? That surely can't be. But it is, grinned the Grinch. Let me give you the reasons. The sun's only good in a couple short seasons. For you'll have to admit, in the winter and fall, that sun is quite weak. It is not strong at all. But this wonderful piece of green string I have here is strong, my good friend, every month of the year. Even so, said the Hubbub, I sort of still doubt. But you know, yapped the Grinch, and he started to shout, that sometimes the sun doesn't even come out. But this marvelous piece of green string, I declare, can come out of your pocket if you keep it there. Any time, day or night, any place, anywhere. Said the Hubbub. That would be quite handy. This piece of green string, said the Grinch, is quite dandy. That sun, let me tell you, is dangerous stuff. It can freckle your face. It can make your skin rough. When the sun gets too hot, it can broil you like fat. But this piece of green string will never do that. This piece of green string is colossal, immense. And to you, well, I'll sell it for 98 cents. And the Hubbub, he bought. And I'm sorry to say that Grinches sell Hubbubs such things every day. Hope you enjoyed the new stories from this.